Alright, now for your essay. Now your essay part A is going to be describe. So part A is going to be your describe and part B is going to be your explain. What's the difference between the two? Basically for describe, right, all you need is 2 paragraphs of PE. Point, elaboration, that's all you need. But for explain, you need point, elaboration, explanation and link. Then you need 2 paragraphs, which means you need 2 main points for each question. Whether it's describe or explain, you're going to need 2 main points. For example, the question can look something like this. Okay, explain the security challenges. Now, if the word is explain here, then you have to, in your explanation, you have to tell me why is it a challenge, or why is it a concern? Why is this security issue a big challenge, a big concern? Which means, what is the impact on Singapore? Okay, what is the impact on the country? But let's say this is describe. Let's say this question is just describe the security challenges. Then all you need is to give me the main point plus elaboration. Okay, you don't need to put this part. Why is it a challenge? So let's take a look at the example here, which is given to you already. So example, konfrontasi, right? And bear in mind, konfrontasi is fall under the category of external because it's outside the country. This is a threat that's outside the country, okay? Then weak defense force will be internal because it is inside the country. That is the internal problem, okay? So explain the security challenges. So your main point is konfrontasi. So write clearly what's your point. Konfrontasi, right? Konfrontasi is one of the challenges that Singapore faced post-independence. So that's my main point, right? After that, I'll write all my details about konfrontasi below, which is the who, what, when, where, how. Okay, what is konfrontasi? What is konfrontasi? Confrontation between Indonesia and Federation of Malaya. Why are they fighting? Because of concerns over formation, causing British to have, causing what they believe is that British will have indirect control over Malay Peninsula. So what did they do? In this terrorist plot, basically there are a series of bombings, close to 37, most serious of which is the McDonald House, 3 death, 33 injured. Okay, now if this is the described question, then you can end here. Okay, because I don't need any explanation about anything. I just need you to tell me the challenge and more about the challenge, elaborate more about the challenge. But if this is an explained question, you have to explain this. Why is this a challenge? So this is a challenge because this is a major concern, because if you continue to have various bombings inside Singapore, how is it going to impact the country? Right? What is the impact on the country? It's going to be economic uncertainty. There's going to be a lot of tension. There's going to be a lot of political instability. Investors are not going to want to invest in the country if it's unsafe. And when investors don't invest in the country, right, you're going to lead to economic uncertainty. Alright, the second issue is if the bombing keeps continuing, leading to a lot of tension, people are going to lose faith in the government. They're going to be unclear if the government can continue to keep our independence and our sovereignty, okay, from external threats. Alright, so what am I doing when I'm explaining? I'm actually talking about the impact. What exactly is the impact of this problem on the country? What is the negative impact of these problems? Negative impact of these problems on the country, right? So that is how you explain. And that's the difference between describe and explain. So the other part is about the challenges. So for example, if you have a question like this, okay, explain how did Singapore solve its security challenges? Now when you see this type of question, right, you have to write down the challenge. Right, you must write the challenge, then you write the solution, and then your main focus is about the solution. For example, your paragraph will look something like this. Singapore solved its security challenges. What challenge? Weak defense force. Okay, but you don't need to elaborate about this weak defense force because the question is not focusing on the challenge. The question is focusing on the solving of it. Okay, so weak defense force by establishing military cooperation. What is this? Basically, this is the 5-power defense arrangement. Australia, New Zealand, Britain, Singapore, and Malaya. What is going to happen here? Joint military exercise, consulting each other in the face of external threats. Now, again, if this is a describe question, if I'm just asking you describe how Singapore solves its security challenges, you can end here because here is your PE, right? Okay, your description. Well, solved by military cooperation, which is all these things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is it? Who is it? Where is it? How is it done? And what is the goal? But if this is an explanation question, then you must link this. You must link all your details here to exactly how the problem is solved. How did all these things help to solve the problem, which is the security challenge? Well, this helped to solve the security challenge because it would allow Singapore to build a strong alliances cooperation with other countries. So what if you have cooperation with other countries? You will enhance your security of the region. You will build peace in the region. And when you have peace, the positive impact is you will remain attractive to investors, and this will help promote economic growth. And therefore, this is how Singapore can solve its economic challenge. So when you explain, right, please link to positive outcome for the country. All right, please give me at least three positive outcomes for the country, right, due to this 5-power defense agreement or military cooperation. What are the different positive outcomes you can have for the country? Alright, so that's the difference between describe and explain once again. That's the difference between challenges and solution once again. Alright, this is one way you can do it. Okay, because this military cooperation is a sub point. The main point is improving the defense as a whole. So it's up to you. You can either write down a sub point as your main point and elaborate. In this case, you must elaborate more about military cooperation, or you can combine all 3 points together, because this military cooperation is part of a bigger point, which is building the defense force, right? And this building defense force includes military cooperation. It also includes building the defense industry. It also includes NS. So you can put all 3 together and say this main point is building defense force. Then in your details, you talk about NS, talk about the CIS industry, you talk about military cooperation, and then you explain with all these things, it can help deter against external threats. Right? The keyword for your solution now is deterrence. Okay, deterrence is very important word. Okay, deterrence against external threats. Okay, so if you do that, then your next point will be the other way to solve the security challenge is, of course, forming diplomacy. So diplomacy, then you talk about the UN, you talk about ASEAN, you talk about UN, ASEAN, and building diplomatic ties and help to build alliances, friendship with other countries to again provide a strong deterrence against external threats. And that's how the security challenge is solved. Okay, so likewise, you will do the same thing for if let's say it's asking about citizenship challenges or social challenges. Okay, let's look at this one again. Second paragraph, solve its security challenges of a weak defense force. Write down the challenge. How is it solved? Strengthening national service. Then you write all about the who, what, when, where, how of a national service. And then finally, what's the outcome? So what if you have national service? Well, it will foster loyalty, national identity, which will help strengthen people's will to fight and defend the nation. So this again will be a strong deterrence against external threats. And so this will ensure Singapore's peace and security is secured. And therefore, national service is the way to meet the security challenge that Singapore has. Okay? So, all the different details I have given to you in a big flow chart inside your RemNote. Alright? So go and study the RemNote, and that will give you the flow chart of how you explain, how you write your point, how you write your elaboration, and how you write your explanation.